Look at that. I start on time. A magic wind, and it just ends up influencing the whole day. Hello, hello, hello. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentine, and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video or this live stream and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. Just want to make sure everything's still looking good here. It looks like that is the case. So, obviously, this game really comes down to defense, right? The Magic DNA for the last few years, basically the whole play that song era has been defense. And for whatever reason, these first 5 games, the defense just wasn't where it needed to be. We don't know if that's, I wouldn't say necessarily it was the effort, and it wasn't that they were playing at about 85, 90% of intensity, just whatever reason we weren't playing good enough defense and we weren't turning the ball over or turning the other team over. And that was really our superpower last year. Last year, if it wasn't really for their turnovers, we wouldn't be the second ranked defense just because if you look at the numbers, the effective field goal percentage for the other teams was not that great. It was kind of middle of the pack. And even the rebounding wasn't as great as what it has been this year. Actually, we've been doing a much better job on the boards, but it was our superpower was taking the ball over. We would just steal it from them, either that was KCP or Gary Harris or Jalen Suggs or any of these other guys that we had on the team. Franz even had more steals before, and you would see he did one this game where he kind of with his long arm go across the guy's body and be able to poke the ball away. It was just something that we were able to do over and over and over and over again. And that was how we were able to cobble together wins when we lost Paolo for so long and Franz for so long and Jalen for so long was the defensive intensity and being able to eke out enough points to be able to win a few games here and there and getting back to 500 last year. Now, beginning of this year, a lot was expected of the team, right? There was already talk about them possibly winning the Eastern Conference. There was talk of them winning more than 55 games in the season. It was all these different conversations that were happening that this is the best chance for us to make the finals since the Dwight Howard teams of '09 and all these different discussion points and the enthusiasm that was behind the club because of the Desmond Bain trade was something that we all sensed and we all knew. And that was something that we had all been very, very excited for, right? So if you watch my preseason, the breakdown that I did for each one of the players after the preseason, I was very, very, very high on the club. I've been watching basketball long enough that I probably should not have been as excited after the preseason, at least of the performances in the preseason. But I don't know, it just was so intoxicating watching Wendell play as hard as he was and shooting as well as he did, and watching Jace run around shooting hidden threes at over 70% clip, and all the different things that were happening was just so enticing that now when you watch it a few games into the regular season, you're kind of like, ooh, that was a bad take, and oh, that wasn't great, and all of that. So that's where we were really, because we were so high on everything that every loss so far this season has felt like so much more of a gut punch because we were expecting so much from this team, and in the end they really were not performing. And again, it was all on the defense. The offense, a lot was talked about that the offense was going to be playing much more fast paced, and we wondered how was that going to affect the defense. And I don't really see that it affected the defense necessarily, in that it wasn't a direct correlation, a 1-to-1. Like, okay, we played this much faster, so we're going to give up this many more points. It's kind of the NBA as a whole. It's not like, I don't know if we thought we were inventing the wheel by being excited about playing fast, and we were going to play fast, and no one else is going to play fast. But obviously, that hasn't been the case. Been playing fast. Last year, the Cleveland Cavaliers had 121 points per game, and that was the league lead. Right now, there's 13 teams or something crazy like that that have over 121 points per game so far in this very, very young season. So it's been just shocked to see how quickly everyone is playing. Like there was all this talk about homogeny in the game with everybody shooting too many 3 pointers, but now there's too much, too many teams just playing so fast that they're playing a bit out of control. And even us turning the ball over as much as we have, we actually are higher in the rankings in turnovers. Like we have the fewest turnovers, even though we've turned the ball over 3 or 4 more times more than we did last year. So it's just there's a lot of anomalies that are happening so far from this season. And, that one of the things might just be this crazy 1-4 start that the Magic had. And moving forward, we're going to go on a bit of a winning streak, kind of mirroring what happened last year after I think it was 8 or 9 games into the season after we lost a few games because of Paolo's injury. Then we were able to right the ship, win 6 in a row or 12 out of 13, I think, at one point. So maybe this is that one, and we just needed that one step, that one to get going. But how did we do it? We did it with our defense. Like this isn't the NFL, so we don't really count takeaways and giveaways as much as we do in the NFL. But it really just comes down to that. Like I said, the Magic superpower before was taking the ball away. And yes, we did turn the ball over a lot last year as well, but even with that, we took the ball over even more than how much we turned the ball over. So this year it was inversed. We were turning the ball over way too much in those losses to the Bulls and to the Hawks. If we didn't turn the ball over as much as we did in those games, I think those we could have pulled those 2 games out. But the last two where we gave up over 130 points in both those games, those that wasn't just about the turnovers. It was about the defense and the turnovers. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing that we need to continue to do for the Magic is to continue to push up. We saw AB really getting at the point of attack, and he was able to pick a few balls in the middle of the court. Jonathan, I think, also got another one as well. So just that bit of intensity at the point of attack, I thought we would play a little bit more full court over the course of the season, but that's not something that we've really done too much of. And maybe that's also something that we can start to employ so that we can make sure that we're slowing teams down a little bit because the pace, I doubt the pace of every team is going to continue at this level. It's just too much to physically do. They're going to lose players to injury playing this fast all year long. So I think it's going to start to normalize, and maybe that memo that came out last year from the league to the referees about letting them play a little bit more on defense, that might end up coming back as well a little bit later on in the year because the amount of free throws teams are shooting is just ridiculous. But hopefully that will allow us to continue to play the handsy defense that we've all grown accustomed to in the play that song era, to continuously hound the ball handler, to continuously take the ball away and then being able to convert. Now we got guys on the offensive end that'll be able to actually convert when we take the ball away from the other team. So to me, that's really the long and short of it. It's the intensity that we played with. Again, not to say that they didn't play with intensity before. It just felt more focused in this one. If you watched my preseason season preview as well as the bold predictions, I basically gave one word to each one of the players, and for me it was Wendell, for him to focus a bit more. And it was an interesting rotation for the centers in this game. Wendell in the first half played less minutes actually than Goga and JI. So I don't know if they're just gonna start to do a different rotation with our centers just to give JI a little bit more time at center instead of him being at the power forward position. We'll see, because getting JI into the game was a big. It seemed like it was a turning point, not necessarily that we were losing or there was anything like that, because in the end we led wire to wire in this game, but it just you felt a different energy when JI was on the court and he was blocking shots, because that's something that we haven't been doing as well, is blocking as many shots at the rim as we had last year. So we're down in steals, down in blocks, so the defense has just been down all around. But Wendell played better in this game. We'll go through the stats of each one of the players, but I think the three guys that really were key, most of all were JI on the defensive end, and that was just something that we were going to need. We were going to need to play a defense first player, even though we're trying to score more and we're trying to keep up with the scoring of a lot of these other teams. We needed to do so. And last game was the first game that they experimented by bringing Noah off the bench first, and he played a little bit because Noah right now his shot isn't where it needs to be or where it likely will be in the future, but he is there to basically try his hardest on defense, put his big body on the line, and being able to try to slow down some of the wings. And he did an okay job of that in this game as well. And he even contributed with a couple points because just the way since we're playing so much more quickly, then of course guys are going to get points just by chance by running down the court and trying to beat the defense down the court. They're going to get an extra basket or two. So that was something that was what was great to see that Ji was able to get onto the court and he was able to contribute by blocking some shots, getting some rebounds, spacing the floor by shooting his corner threes. None of them went down, unfortunately, but they're really close, and that's the frustrating bit. It's not like he's hitting the side of the basket or airballing them entirely. At least in the last couple instances where he's had an opportunity to shoot them, it's been kind of like half in and just comes right out. So it's a bit frustrating because you really want them to go down for JI at this point, especially that he was kind of out of the rotation as of the previous game. So in this one, it was just really good to see that he was able to not only get in the game, but to be able to contribute and not just be on the court to give somebody a break because they're a little bit tired at this point. So the for me the first game ball would go to Ji just for his presence, and who knew that the finish the minister of defense would help our defense, right? So thankfully he was able to contribute and make an impact on this game. So Ji would be one of the guys I'd give the first game ball to. The other one would be AB. AB, the word at the beginning of the season that I had for AB was aggression, and boy was he aggressive. Like he ended up with so many more shots than he typically does, and it was just good to see that he was able to fit in with the starters as well as he did. So previously when Jalen wasn't playing, we would start Tyus, and we've seen how that has gone so far this year. So luckily, they're to give Mosley credit, they're actually trying some things. Last year, they probably would have done the same old thing and just put out Tyus and just kind of live with it because he didn't really want to rock the boat too much, but. With so many expectations on this team right now, we really can't afford to go 1-10 or anything crazy like that. So he needed to stem the tide, and he made that call to start AB instead. And boy, did it work out. AB was very aggressive at the beginning of the game by continuously shooting the ball, by driving, by cutting, by doing all the things that I think that AB will be. If you saw my video that I produced on the YouTube channel, uh, that was whether we should overreact or relax on some of the topics of the day. One of the things was for me to overreact on AB. And on that, though, I was talking about that it's not AB as a player. I think AB as a player can still be a very integral part to the entire team. He's, I would say, my sixth man candidate for the team this year. Big X factor. A lot will come from AB this year. My biggest thing for AB is that he maybe not be the primary ball handler anymore on either rotation. And any time that he's on the court, I don't think he should be the primary ball handler anymore. It really should go through Tyus or Tristan in the second unit. And if AB is in the first unit, there's plenty of ball handlers that'll take the load on there. And he can play as he did today, as we saw. He was the 3/D is what I'm calling him. So he's not just a 3 and D, he's a 3/D. He can shoot the three. He's been much improved with shooting his three, especially in that corner three. He's a great slasher and driver of the ball, as well as his defense is pretty stout. Now, you might say, well, Tyrese Maxey scored X amount of points on him a couple games ago, and this person and that person, and yeah, but you try to stay in front of these guys. Like these guys are exceptional players, and if you look at the film, which I did, and I probably will release a video in the next week or so once we have a few more games to talk about the defense that the Magic have played. That now we'll have maybe a good and bad section of that film. But in the even in the bad section in which that Maxi was scoring on AB a lot, it wasn't because AB wasn't trying. He definitely was there. Maxi didn't really have an efficient day as a whole in general, but same thing for Lamelo in this one. Like Lamelo really didn't have an efficient day on there. It's just guys are getting shots up because that's just the NBA in 2025 right now is just the teams are scoring. So we have to recalibrate what we think of a successful game or a successful defensive game because the Magic gave up 107 points. And before that would be like, oh man, they gave up 100 points, but 107 points in the NBA, at least of this season, it's like holding a team down to 80, really. So I think it was a really good point of attack defense by AB throughout the course of the game. And again, he had a couple good steals just by being active, being long, and continuing to put in the work against Lamelo. So I think that AB definitely gets a game ball as well, scoring 20 points. That's exceptional. That's what we want from AB. And the last one would be Tristan. Tristan's word at the beginning of the season from me was presence. He needed to have presence. He couldn't just float in the background and not be one to put an imprint in on the team or on the game anymore. He definitely needed to continue to shoot. He needed to drive. He needed to, again, put some pressure onto the other team. So we had aggression with AB, and with Tristan, it was presence because as we've seen so far, I guess this was the sixth game of the season, and in in four of the previous five games, he did exactly that. He put his imprint in every one of those games. He was scoring in double figures. He's doing a good job of scoring, of getting open, of shooting the three, especially that corner three. Very important for this team. And he's just been open and being aggressive and even taking some mid-range shots as well and driving the ball. So Tristan in this game also again made a very big impact on it. And as we see, those are three bench guys that I'm talking about because really we know that Paulo, Franz, and Desmond have been doing what we'd hoped that they would do. They're all scoring about 20 points a game. Obviously, Paulo and Franz are over that, over 22 points a game, but Desmond's around 19-ish. They're doing kind of what they needed to do now. Another game ball could go out to Wendell as well. Wendell with 18 points in this one, and he basically was able to control the glass, even though control the glass better than last game, let's say, and that's partially because they're not as big. Charlotte is not as big as Detroit overall, so Wendell was able to have a pretty good game in this one as well. An excellent game for how he's played so far this year because of the opponent and because of the circumstance that he was in. But he played a really good game. But the big three that we know, as well as Jalen when he plays, have played well. It just hasn't been us putting all of that together into one performance as well as having the intensity on the defensive end, and all of that came together in this game, and the Magic came out not surprisingly with a double digit victory in this one. So 123.07 is the win for the Magic. Now, again, to put a little bit of context and put a little bit of numbers onto what the Magic did on defense, the Hornets were averaging 128 points per game in this one, and we held them to 107 points per game. The Magic's defensive rating was 118.3. Now we're in the bottom third of the NBA. So not only were we in the bottom third on offense, we were also in the bottom third of defense, and you're not going to win a lot of games that way. So that's why it made sense that we were 1-4. But for us to have turned them over 20 times. Again, those are just free points. And as we saw, our guys were able to convert on the other end when we took away those turnovers. So it's not rocket science a lot of the times. It's energy. Defense comes from energy. Defense comes from enthusiasm and wanting to actually sit and guard, is what Mosley says all the time. We heard him very upset last game. I haven't heard the post game conference so far in this one, but he definitely was upset in the last one because of the lack of intensity from the guys, and that's what I mean. Like we have a lot fewer steals than we did a season ago. Now, some of that is losing KCP and losing Gary Harris because they were defense minded, uh, defense first players, I would say, and we've replaced them now with offensive first players, and I think that has been a challenge for the team. But as we see, just having really one defense first player or two defense first players with Noah and Ji coming into the game, it really started to impact the defense and really help the team get over the hump and get some steals and get some blocks and really make an impact on the defensive end, because that was just something that wasn't happening at all so far in the previous four games. I would say the Miami game was a shootout because Miami is leading the league in scoring, funnily enough. So we were able to hold them to 121, which is, well, about 10 points less than their per game average right now. So we did okay in that first game, but the last four and have been definitely tough on the defensive end. And because of our high expectations, every one of those losses felt like three losses, right? So we're only 2-4 now. It's not the end of the world. The sky isn't falling. We have this victory. We definitely don't want to count victories before they happen. We're playing the Wizards next, then we play the Hawks, likely without Trey Young, and then we play the Boston Celtics, who are without Jason Tatum. We play Boston a couple times, so looking at the schedule prior to the season, yeah, we were counting wins in advance, and we this is why we thought we would come out to a fast start, but that didn't happen. So now we take it one game at a time and really start to hopefully hone in and stack days and stack wins, which is something that the Magic talked about in media day, about stacking wins and stacking days and continuing to build upon the previous day. And the foundation for the beginning of the season wasn't the greatest, but they did build upon things, and you were able to still see some positives that have come from the first five games. That now Franz is hitting 3 pointers. So with that, now we're able to add the defense back in, and now we're able to win. And we've seen, Tristan play super well, AB play super well so far this season, except for the turnovers for AB. And that's just been added and added and added. And hopefully we continue again to string together a couple victories so that it kind of lessens the blow and lessens the fears and lessens the temperature down a little bit on Mosley and on this team, because the team needs to win. It just needs to win because we don't have our own draft pick. So if we lose, it would stink, but we'd still need to win, partially just for the fans, hopefully, but also just because of where we're going to be financially in the next few years. That the window has started now to be competitive, and we need to start being competitive. And we'll take it one game at a time now, and hopefully that will be the case. So and other things that we were able to hold Charlotte below. We held them to about 10 3-point attempts less than what they normally do. We kept them to about 3 assists less than what they normally do, 5 rebounds less than what they normally do. Their 3-point percentage about 9% lower than what they normally do. So it was all on the defensive end, and that's something that we should be proud of as as if I'm on the team. I might as well be on the team. So yes, it's something that they should be very excited about, because without that, then likely they would have had another difficult game with Charlotte, because Charlotte can put the ball in the basket, and in the end, they were able to play well enough defensively to really limit Lamelo, because Lamelo again wasn't efficient. He was okay from 2 point range, but 1 of 9 from 3 point range isn't gonna beat the Magic, at least last year's Magic. This year's Magic, they might have, but with the defense that we played, we were able to eke out this victory. So to look at our guys and the stats that they had in this one. So Franz led the team in scoring. So he had 18 first half points. So this game kind of just goes along with the other 5 games so far that Franz has been a first half guy. And this actually tracks with what was happening in Eurobasket. He was almost always scoring 80% of his points in the first half, and then the second half was when Schroeder would really take over in Eurobasket. And so far for Franz, it's very similar. He's been scoring high teens in the first halves, and then maybe an extra few points to get over 20 points per game, but it just hasn't been a full 4 quarters. So this one, he had a big 3 in that fourth quarter to get him up to over 20 points per game, points in this game. But I don't know. It's interesting, and I don't know if it's just because we have so many mouths to feed on offense now that the ball isn't in his hands nearly as much, and he's just not going to get the points. And that was kind of a question mark coming into the season. Who is Desmond going to impact the most? Is it going to be Jalen? Is it going to be Franz? I didn't think it would be Paolo very much, but it seems that it's also eaten into Paolo's production as well. So we'll see where it all shakes out, and we'll see how the season goes. But that's that. But Franz ended up leading the team with 21 points on 8 of 16 shooting. So nice, efficient day. Obviously, 50% from the field is what I mean efficient. Getting 21 points on 16 shots, not the most efficient, but 3 of 6 from 3 point range. 6 3 point shots, I think, is the most exciting part for me. If you watch the play-by-play of the game, because just if you didn't know, I basically am watching the games and commenting throughout the game. That could be your second screen experience because I love me some JT and Dante or JT and David Steele. But if you can't get that game or you want a second screen, I go through the game as a whole and talk about things throughout the game. And the big thing I talk about is just the 3 point attempts. Like for some reason, the Magic are also not shooting as many 3 pointers as we thought they would have to. Well, they know they have to, and we thought they would because we still have a math problem otherwise, which is the reason why we got Desmond. So we needed somebody to shoot threes. And in this game, Tristan shoots 7, Franz shoots 6, AB shoots 6. So all of that is great to see. We need to shoot threes, even if we don't always hit them, which is what was poor Franz's responsibility last year. You still got to shoot them. So 3 of 6, very important. 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. So that part's not great, but still great all around game. Stuff in the stat sheet by Franz. Paolo, 20 points in his 32 minutes, 8 of 12 from the field. Very efficient for Paolo. Let's hope that this is the start of a good momentum period for Paolo because Paolo's played very poorly, especially by his standards, poorly in general, but very poorly by his standards. He hasn't really been able to get on track with his mid range pretty much this whole entire season, even including the preseason. So he hit a few of them 3 point shots. He hit a couple of his 3 point shots as well. 2 of 3 from 3. It's his free throws that have started to suffer. It felt like we couldn't have both things, right? The same thing with Paolo, with both Paolo and Franz. Franz all of a sudden can shoot threes again, but he's missing from the free throw line. And Paolo is the opposite. Paolo was not hitting his threes or his shots, but all of a sudden was shooting over 80% from the free throw line. So that's definitely not the case anymore. So 2 of 6 from the free throw line for Paulo, only 6 free throws, which is a little bit short for him. 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. I mean, he was stuck on 9 and 9 for so long, and he wasn't able to get either one of those. So he ends up with very close to a triple double, but 29-9 for Paulo. Wendell Carter, 18 points, 8 rebounds on 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. Again, someone's got to shoot the threes. If Wendell's going to shoot threes, that's what I'm talking about. It seems that his stroke is much better this year than it was last year. So great. The Kalkbrenner on the Hornets wasn't coming out at all to even try to contest. So you got to step up and hit them. And Wendell did in this game. So that helped. 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Again, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block for Wendell. Desmond ended up with 9 points. So I think that's a season low. I'm pretty sure that'd be a season low. 11 shots So he ends up third or fourth actually in shots in this one, and I think that's where he needs to be. I think that's where we need to hopefully have him start to initiate, but not initiate for him to pump the guy and just drive the basket. He needs to be moving the ball. And that was the thing that in my player profile for Desmond, if you haven't checked the YouTube channel as a whole, I did a player profile on each one of the Magic players this year. It was that a lot of his assists were just doing the right thing and making the right play and making the right pass, just spraying the ball out to the open shooter and hitting them, not driving the ball all the time to get two for yourself, especially or going to the basket, because with his lack of wingspan, he has to be shifty and he has to constantly be changing speeds. He has to be kind of pushing off a little bit to be able to get his shot off in the paint. And this entire season, that's all he's been doing really. He hasn't been shooting the threes. And if you look at this game, only 2 3-point shots from him. That means he shot 9 from inside the arc, shooting 4 of 9 from inside the arc. That's not why the Magic got Desmond Bain, or at least that's not what I thought they got him for. Sure, he can be a secondary ball handler, and then that's all good and well, but we need floor spacers. We need space for Paolo and Franz to be able to work in the middle. And Desmond Bain is not shooting threes. He might be because he's not hitting them, and that can be understandable. And he still wants to contribute in any way he can. So that's why he's just going and making the quick read and just attacking and trying to get to the rim, which is great. But again, that doesn't help our math problem. We need 3-point shooting. So that's something that still I'm going to keep flagging and keep harping on all throughout the season. If he's not shooting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 3-pointers per game, like that's what we need from him. We need someone that's going to shoot at least 6 3-pointers a game, but ideally 8, 9, or 10, because that's what he need. That's what we need to unclog everything for our offense. But 0 of 2 from three, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 turnovers. Him and AB have been the main culprits, I would say, in the turnover fest that has been this season so far. And 4 turnovers in this one, also not something that is going to look great in the end, but we got the victory in this one, so it is what it is. AB played 30 minutes in this one, starting for Jalen. 20 points on 8 of 13 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3. Like I said, even in the game yesterday when he shot 1 of 6 from 3, keep shooting, baby. Just keep on shooting because that's what we need. We need guys to shoot from 3. And that's just the end all. I'll try not to talk about it much more. We still have maybe 2 or 3 more guys that I'll talk about it. But other than that, I'm not going to talk about it that much more because I've said it enough. 3 of 6 from 3 from AB, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Like I said, he was all over the place on defense, so he was a good substitute for Jalen in that respect. And even Jalen really hasn't had that kind of a line just yet. Hopefully, he's just saving himself for unleashing that later on in the year. But also, again, with his 3 turnovers, so 2 assists, 3 turnovers, he's underwater in assists this year, and that's something that again, that's why I mentioned earlier he should just be the 3/D guy, hit the three, slash the basket, play D, but not be our primary ball handler at all in any one of the lineups that he's on. Goga came off the bench with 13 minutes, so I don't know if Wendell just needed a longer break in the first half because Goga had about 8 minutes in that first half, or 9 minutes actually, and only played 4 minutes in that second half. Goga with 13 minutes played in this one, 6 points on 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 from three. So we got a little bit of Euro basket Goga, 1 of 1 from the free throw line. 3 rebounds and a block for Goga. Noah Penda, 17 minutes of action, gets 3 points, 1 of 2 from the field, 0 for 0 from three. He's one of those that doesn't have to shoot threes if he doesn't want to, because it will take some time for him to get better at shooting threes in the NBA. 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Ended up with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, no steals, no blocks, but still him putting that effort on the defensive end is something that we desperately need. And it looks like he's found a niche already in so early on in the season, and likely he will continue to get some playing time, especially if they're going to have JI come as a backup 3, then that might just be Noah's part to be the backup power. Tyus, 13 minutes in this game, almost 14 minutes in this game, two field goals in this one. That's a season high for him. I don't mean to be too sarcastic, but Tyus is another one of the additions that we had this year that we had such high hopes of being floor spacer, and it just hasn't worked out so far either for Tyus or Desmond in this season so far. 5 points on 2 of 4 from the field overall, 1 of 3 from three, so he did hit a three in this one. So it's two straight games that he has hit a 3 point shot. So maybe things are turning around for him. Didn't hit a free throw and really no other stats other than one steal. Now, the big thing for Tyus is that we really need, if he's going to play, he really needs to contribute offensively because the other team is going to hunt them defensively. And I thought that it wouldn't happen as much in the regular season and it would happen more in the postseason, but it's happening in the regular season. And I think that, again, teams are starting to play a little bit more playoff style offense in the regular season, in that they're hunting matchups even more than it feels like they normally did in the past. And poor Tyus is just getting abused. And maybe last year's NBA is where Tyus was able to continue to play meaningful minutes, but in the NBA of 2025, 2026, in this first week, he really can't stay on the floor too long because he doesn't add anything at all defensively. And if he's not going to score, then there's really no uh, reason for him to be playing. Then AB would likely take all of his minutes whenever Jalen's playing. And again, I think they should sprinkle in a little bit of Jace every so often because likely Tyus is only going to be here for the 1 year since we're going to be so expensive starting next year. We need Jace to develop. So we'll see about that. Then looking a little bit further on to Tristan. Tristan, 19 big points off the bench in 22 minutes, 5 of 11 from the field, 11 shots. Again, presence. He needs to continue to be present and continue to be aggressive. He can borrow AB's term. He definitely needs to have a presence and make an imprint in each one of these games for the Magic. And who knows, maybe we might have two six man of the year candidates if we start winning enough to start worrying about accolades. But again, forget all that. I talk about it just a little bit because I talked about it in the season previews, but we're going to have to take it one game at a time. So one game at a time it is. 5 of 11 overall, 3 of 7 from 3. Excellent. Just keep on shooting. 3 of 7 from 3, 43% on there. 6 of 6 from the free throw line. That just shows how aggressive he has been because Tristan is not one to get onto the free throw line very often. And 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Very impressive. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, no turnovers. So that's sorry, 2 turnovers, but no blocks for Tristan. So 3 steals. I always worry that he's not going to get that many counting stats, but if he plays 22 minutes a game, he's going to end up getting a few counting stats here and there. And his defense, I would say, of the people that I'm surprised that their defense hasn't been more impactful so far this year, it's been, at least numbers wise specifically, it would be Tristan and a B, and then if I had another person, it'd be Franz. Like, they're good defenders. They do their job in making sure that they get in the way and that they're impeding the progress of the ball handler. They just haven't been poking the ball away. They haven't been getting the steals. They haven't been getting the blocks nearly from what they have been in the past. And in this game, at least, we were able to get some stats from them on that. JI again, 15 minutes of action. So this was a season high, I think, when it comes to playing for him. He ended up with 2 points on that one breakaway dunk after a good steal at midcourt. So 1 of 5 from the field, 0 of 4 from three. But man, they're so close. I hope he's able to continue to play next game and he's able to hit one of those threes and get the top off that lid. No free throws, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks in this one. So again, very impactful on the defensive end. Who would have thought that the minister of defense would help our defense? And then of course the last three on the bench, Jace, Jet, and Orlando Robinson all got into the game for the last 2 minutes, and Jace was able to get 2 assists. And like I say, I really think that Jace could run the second units. with Tristan and AB just slashing and being available for three. So I really think Jace hopefully will start earning more of an opportunity. I hope it doesn't have to happen through injury, but I really think that Jace could impact the club, especially in the 3 point range. Again, getting 3 point shots up because I don't know if you've heard the Magic need to shoot more threes. So in the end, we shoot 52% if you round up, 42% from the 3 point land, 74% from the free throw line, 46 rebounds, 29 assists on 45 shots or 45 field goals made. That's a good percentage for the Magic. And again, once you hit shots, you're going to end up with assists as long as you're sharing the ball. Obviously, we have some guys that in the past have had to kind of be the offense themselves and not get the others involved, but that hasn't been the case really for the most part this year. And 29 assists really is a good number for 45 field goals made. Then 10 steals. Awesome for the Magic. The Magic have only been averaging about five ish, six ish steals per game, and they were up closer to over eight last year. So 10 steals in this one, seven blocks in this one. Excellent, excellent, and excellent, excellent, excellent. 13 turnovers. A lot of that was in the second half. We ended up with eight in the second half, but hey, it's way better than 20 plus that we've had a few instances this season so far. On the Hornets, they were pretty even. Ryan Kochbrenner, their center, 17 points, 8 of 9 from the field. Like this kid is really doing a good job. Lamelo with 17 and 13 assists, 1 of 9 from three. So again, these guys aren't having the most efficient games against us. It's just that they're getting so many shots that they're gonna score. But luckily, the Magic were able to keep him in check from 3 point range. Colin Sexton ended up being the leading scorer with 19 points off the bench for the Hornets. And we held them to 51% from the field, which again, we have to recalibrate our minds into what is good defense nowadays. So 51% from the field, 37% from the 3 point line, 80% from the free throw line. Again, you'd look at those numbers even as of last year and be like, wow, that wasn't a great defensive effort, but it just is. You just have to know that that's the way the NBA is this week. That's what I keep saying this year, but it's really this week, and we'll see by the end of the first month if teams are continuing to play at this pace because guys are just going to drop dead in the end. And they 21 total assists is how many we were able to force in this one. So all good things for the Magic in this one, especially on defense. We did everything that we'd been hoping for, really, from all the little things of continuing to hound the basketball, hound the ball handlers. Like I said, I think we should do a little bit more of full court press. Again, even if it's just kind of light, we need to continue to put the pressure onto these ball handlers because it's the NBA and there's good point guards in pretty much every team. There's only a handful that don't have excellent ball handlers and guys that penetrate and kick out because that's really how we've been affected the most. Because, like I said, a lot of these point guards didn't have the most efficient games against us, but they penetrated and they were able to get the back end of our defense to scramble, and then that's where corner threes were wide open and all the other alley. There've been so many alley oops against the Magic that it's been very a different feeling over the course of this season so far, other than since watching the play that song era Magic. So I think that is all I've got to say. Yeah, go Magic, play that song. So we're really happy to get this victory to stop that 4 game losing streak. Hopefully, each one of the losses this year don't just feel like they're 5 losses. We got to start to I think, recalibrate what we thought of the Magic team that we're going to have, the type of season we're going to have this year. I really think we're going to have a very successful season, and now we can go on a run as long as we take it game by game. Don't really listen to all the hype about what kind of season we're going to have. If they just continue to play defense the way they played in this game, then the team will be fine. But that's going to be the big question. So we'll see Saturday what they do against the Wizards. Again, the Hornets and the Wizards. And then even if we play Atlanta without Trey Young, what is that really going to say? Is that going to be the type of defense? Is that going to be enough on the defensive end against the upper echelon teams, which we really haven't played any upper echelon teams right now, and we're only 2-4. So again, hopefully we're stacking wins and we're stacking days and we're doing a little bit day by day to continue to get better and make sure that we are getting better. And by the time we do start to play some of the upper echelon teams, then we are ready for the challenge and we can continue to win so that we can take the lead in the Southeast Division because we're behind right now by a couple games so early on in the season. So fingers crossed. So you let me know. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this game and who should get the game balls for this game, as well as what do you think the rest of the season is going to have in store for Ji? Is he going to continue to be in the rotation, or is he just going to kind of flutter in and out and kind of be someone that just can kind of gets yanked around over the course of the season, or will he stick as our third string center and just kind of come in and just be that wrecker of worlds on the defensive end? So you let me know what you think. And yeah, this is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. Do the normal YouTube things. Hit that like if you want to do so. Hit that subscribe. Drop a comment below and share this video. So thank you for watching this live stream, and I hope you are having a great day or a great night.